Okay, greetings to everyone. We are going to look at our next topic from measurement. Now we are at the topic force. We are going to discuss about force now. Force. Before the end of the topic, the learner should be able to define force, state the different types of force, explain different effect of force, work out in different calculations involving force. Okay. The definition of force. Force refers to the push or a pull that result from interaction between the bodies. It is that which changes the state of motion of body, and the SI unit of force is newtons, which is represented with the capital N. Force has both magnitude and direction, and is represented by straight line with an arrow as shown below. The length of the line shows the magnitude of the force, while the arrow end shows the direction of the force. What do you understand by this statement? The length of the line shows the magnitude of the force, while the arrow end shows the direction of the force. The thing to understand is the length, meaning length is directly proportional with the magnitude. The more that the longer this arrow is, the higher the magnitude. Let's say the arrow was 10 cm and the upper arrow is 20 cm. The arrow with 20 cm has more magnitude as compared to the arrow with 10 cm. Okay. We are going now to look at the effect of force, or effect of force. The first effect of force is that it can increase the speed of moving object. It can stop the moving object by, for example, take for instance the ball has been kicked towards one direction. You may stop that ball, meaning the ball was moving but I've stopped it. That is in its full description of it can stop the moving object. The next one is it can increase the speed of moving object. For example, let's say something was going with a very high speed, let's say it was with 20 meters per second, and it is suddenly interrupted with an external force. This means that it will lower the speed of the ball. If there's a ball which was kicked, it will lower that speed, which would increase maybe to 10 or less than 20 meters per second. The next is it can increase the speed, it can change the shape of an object. It can deform an object. For instance, let's take an empty bottle. When you take an empty bottle and you squeeze it in the both side, the bottle shape will reduce. I mean plastic bottle, not all bottle that the size will change. The plastic bottle, it will change the shape and size. It can make object turn about a fixed point or a pivot. What do you understand by pivot? Pivot is the point whereby the opposite side with the other one is equal. This one will land in the equilibrium and center of gravity. This is the form 2 work, so we'll discuss more on the form 2 next year. This is called the turning effect of force. They can change the direction of moving object. For instance, let's take here that the ball has been kicked to you, or Tom has kicked the ball to Jerry. Meaning, before the ball reaches to Jerry, let's say that it was attacked by an external force, which means it will change the direction. It will change from moving towards Jerry and it will move in the other side. This is the full meaning of that. It will change the direction of the moving object. There's some questions that you can ask or can be asked to describe after the experiment. Mainly, let's talk, for example, which effect and path can be caused by push only. What can cause push only, or what can be caused by pull only? Push, for instance, push can cause the stationary object to move. It can be caused by push. Push can change the direction of moving object. When you push, for instance, somebody was moving this one towards north and you push randomly from eastern part, meaning you will change the direction of that person. On the pull only also, and look on the pull. Push is pushing towards, but pull is like a moving something towards you or pulling. Push and the pull can be affecting the deformation. We have seen on the last year. It was also the second last effect of force. it can change the shape of object. When you apply push force and the pull force, it can also change the direction of the, not the direction, I mean the shape of the object. Okay, this is all about the effect of force. So mainly about it. We can work out on the types of forces also. Types of forces as in gravitational force, centripetal force, magnetic force, attractive force, electrostatic force, and action and reaction force. This is when there's a problem with charging. I think we can fix it a little bit now. There's a problem with the charging system. Okay, we can now continue. The power is now full. We are seeing that we are discussing the types of force now. There's gravitational force, centripetal force, magnetic force, attractive force, electrostatic force, friction force, and action and reaction force. One part of gravitational force is the force that you experience in our daily life done by when you draw something up, and I know you have noticed this thing. When you draw something up and it doesn't go forever, it will suddenly come towards the ground. This is what we call the gravitational force. The type of force in gravitational force, it refers to the force of attraction between any two bodies, e.g. the force of attraction between the earth and the moon. Gravitational force is a non-contact force. What do you mean by a contact force and non-contact force? For example, we can demonstrate them using this phone and this mirror. When the force is for compounded things like this is a contact force, but the non-contact force is the force that was occurring between the object A and object B, but they are not together. That is the non-contact force. The gravitational force of the earth, it is the force of attraction of body towards the center of the earth. I know we have witnessed this in many scenarios. Whereby you draw a stone, when you draw a stone up, it will suddenly come towards the diamonds of the center of the earth. Factors affecting gravitational force, we can look at them. There are two factors, which is the mass of the object and the distance of the separation between the two objects. Masses of the object, the larger the mass, the stronger the gravitational force. In our case, we can say that the mass of an object is directly proportional to the gravitational force, as in the higher the mass, the higher the gravitational force. For instance, they'll take two bodies, that is body A and B. For instance, body A has 20 kg, but body B has 10 kg. When we draw them up, the higher gravitational force will occur in the body of 20 kg than the body of 10 kg. Also, there's the distance of the separation between the two objects. The longer the distance of the separation, the weaker the gravitational force. Meaning, as the distance increases, the gravitation reduces. Meaning, the gravitational force as compared to the distance, they are inversely proportional. Meaning, the distance of separation is inversely proportional to the gravitational force. Okay, that is all about gravitational force, unless there is any question. Centripetal force. Centripetal force, this is a force which maintains a body to move in a circular orbit or a path. In this case, I think many of you have witnessed the merry-go-round. Merry-go-round, this is one that works on the principle of centripetal force, whereby, for instance, keys or it is a track that revolves around a particular pivot. It is directed towards the center of circular orbit. For instance, let's take this as a rope, and the rope is revolving around a particular point, meaning the force is directed towards or inside the circle. Let me see the circle that is drawn by that particular rotating force. The earth revolving around the sun or along it also, the earth revolving around the sun is a type of gravity, centripetal force, whereby a earth takes an year or more, if I may say so, 30 years or more, but takes 365 days and some years and the stuff days and a half to some leap year. In centrifugal is used in our daily lives, for example, in separating ghee from the milk. And even in particular companies like yogurt companies, they may use the centripetal force to separate some milk and sugar. This is possible whereby they compare the densities of the two, the density of the ghee and the density of milk, the difference, whereby they have seen that all the force is directed towards the center, whereby the denser liquid, for a case this is ghee, will be pulled towards the middle and the milk will be outside layer, meaning that you can be able to separate the ghee from the milk by the use of centripetal force. A car moving around the circle of track or around the corner also is an application of the centrifugal or centripetal force. For this case, I have seen a car negotiating a corner. Obviously, the force is directed towards the center. That's why sometimes in reverse where carelessly should not take care of the centripetal force, it may cause an accident. Magnetic force is a very interesting force. It works on the same principle as the gravitational force, since it is an uncontact force. A magnetic force is the force of attraction or repulsion due to the magnet. What do you understand by the magnet? Magnet, in ordinary cases, in most of the gadgets to use magnet, it helps us. For instance, in so many topics in physics, we learn about magnet. For instance, the magnetic electricity and the magnetism, mainly in our electric gadget. You may never lack a magnet. Magnet is helpful maybe in whereby you can use them in electric impulse, in some phones, in creating receivers of the phone and some other things. Okay, let's back to our case here. We want to discuss about the magnetic force. Magnetic attraction occurs between a magnet and a magnetic material, or between unlike poles and magnetic repulsion occurs between like poles of the magnet. Magnetic attraction occurs between magnetic and non-magnetic and magnet and a magnetic material. You understand by this? There's difference between a magnet and magnetic material. A magnetic material is a material that can be attracted by a magnet, but a magnet is a gadget that can attract magnetic material towards it. That's one of the cases where magnetic force applies. In another case is between unlike poles of magnet, while a repulsion occurs between the like poles of the magnet. We can say that magnet works in a particular principle whereby unlike poles attract, but like poles repel. For instance, in our case here we can see NS. N which stands for north, and S which stands for soluble and northable. Soluble and northable, they will automatically attract each other. But soluble and soluble or not dependent on the people repel each other since they are the same poles. Yes, the next force, which is upthrust force. Upthrust force is an upward force on an object immersed in a fluid. It's a very rare case. It's not a rare case, but it's a case that most of us have tried in our childhoods. Some have tried it even now. For instance, it's mostly applicable in swimming. For those who have visited in swimming pools, you have experienced this upthrust force. Maybe you could want to know since you want to know about the upthrust force, but today after this now you'll be able to differentiate between different forces in a particular environment. Upthrust force can be defined as apparent loss in weight of body mass in a liquid or a gas. What do we mean by apparent loss in weight? For instance, let's take a stone weigh 20 kg in air. When you mass it in water, automatically the mass will, the weight will reduce. Can you know why the weight will reduce? For example, it was 20 kg, but when you measure in a fluid, it is 15 kg. What do you think 5 kg is? 5 kg, it is the upthrust force that we are discussing our matter now. Examples of situation in which upthrust force act include negative repulsion occurring between like changes. Negative repulsion occurring between like changes. About negative repulsion of like changes, we'll learn it about the about electricity in the application of thunderstorms. This principle is mainly used in lightning arresters. Balloons to racing. You have to solve for when you throw balloon, it races up. This is also a case of the upthrust force. There is a force that pushes a balloon towards or ending above. Swimming and both floating, with the force that holds it This is not surface tension. Surface tension is we'll discuss it later in this class also, but there's a difference between updrafting force and the surface tension. Bodies immersed in a liquid will less than their weight in the air. I think I've discussed that one. Okay, on the electrostatic force. What do we understand by electrostatics? Electrostatic, you can say it's two things. It is electro and static. Electrostatic, when you hear the word electrostatic, you just remember about the two types of electricity. There is current electricity and static electricity. Current electricity means it's kind of hours, but the static electricity means occur when rubbing the body, for instance, the polishing shoes. I know you have done this one by you rub your pen using your ears, and you can be able to pick a piece of paper from your table. Electrostatic force is a force of attraction or repulsion between electrically charged bodies. What do you mean by electrically charged bodies? In the laws of charges, we see that unlike charges repel, unlike charges attract, but like charges repel. For instance, positive and positive they repel, but positive and negative they attract. This is also an uncontact force. I think I discussed this earlier about an uncontact force. There are two types of electric charges, which is positive and negative. The positive one is represented by the positive sign, and the negative one is represented by subtraction sign, which is directly from mathematics. I think you can understand this. The last force is a friction force. Friction force is a force. Friction force is the force that opposes the movement between two surfaces in contact. Friction force is in a fluid is called viscous drag or viscosity. Advantages of friction force. Friction force helps us in writing. You know, it is much interesting to know that friction helps in writing. Yes, the friction between the book surface and the pen tip helps us in shaping and writing in our handwriting. Braking also is another important aspect that friction helps us in braking. For instance, if there is no friction, the stopping the car will be very hard, as the friction between the tarmac road and the tires. Also in walking, it is so interesting that you use friction in walking. When you are walking, the friction force between your tip or your surface of the shoe and the surface enables us to walk in racing and lightening the matchstick. Also it helps us. Okay, now what are the disadvantages of friction force? It causes wear and tear. Have you ever thought why your clothes are torn? Your clothes are torn because they are on daily basis you keep on washing your clothes, and then by that the rubbing and crashing forces that's causes friction, which causes tear and wear of the cloth. It also hinders motion. What do you mean by hinders motion? Friction can hinder motion, whereby when friction exceeds some level or increase and repels the weight or the force of your leg, it can hinder movement, produces unwanted heat. For example, sometimes you have hand of lightning attacking, or I don't know, so many things causing us friction force causing heat. So many friction may trigger heat, which is may cause some accident. On methods of decreasing friction, there's using rollers. Rollers is a small round sticks. Around they look like a cylinder shape. When they roll around from the one rolling, you can just take as it is using rollers. Streamlining the bodies. What do you mean by streamlining the bodies? The bodies is streamlined by the shape is in contact with the shape is favoring the environment of the hair or the friction of the hair that is fighting with. This one we will discuss more when to form the Bernoulli's principle. Mainly it is caused by the turbulence or turbulence flow. There is using of bone bearing. These are cases that I've seen using the small what do I call the the small sphere balls, which are used as ball bearings. On hammer, the greasing is just oiling. Sometimes you may ask what is the difference between oiling and greasing. Greasing is application mean of oil to the friction pad to reduce the friction. I don't think if it is understandable, but I think that is it now. The greasing and oiling has a difference. On tension force, It is a force which acts on stretched bodies. Tension is a result of two opposing forces applied on each other. This is the contact force. On this matter, I reminded me about the adhesive and repulsive force. What's the difference between adhesive and repulsive force? Adhesive force is a force of attraction between the different molecules, while coercive force is the force of attraction between the same particles. For instance, we can say mercury has more coercive force since its particles are more concerned or contact to each other. When you compare water, or the particles of water and the particles of mercury, they have different forces. For instance, in mercury we have more coercive force than adhesive force, but in water we have more adhesive force than coercive force. What do you mean by that one? It means that when you pour the water, it is more likely to stick to the ground than when you pour the mercury. The mercury is held together, meaning it has more coercive force as compared to the adhesive force. But on the matter of the water particles and the ground particles have more adhesive force. This is the force of attraction between two different molecules. For instance, the molecules of the surface of the ground and the molecules of water, there are two different molecules, meaning the attraction force is called the adhesive force of different molecules. Surface tension is defined as the force per unit length in the plane of a liquid surface acting to the right angles on either side of the liquid. Factors affecting surface tension on our impurities. What is impurities? What is impurity? Impurity is one thing, something like a soap or a detergent, to weaken the coercive force between the surface of a liquid molecules and therefore reducing the surface tension. What do you think when you want to increase the surface tension in this? This is because of intermolecular forces. When you want impurities, for instance, in our liquid here, which is water, the intermolecular forces will induce them by weakening the intermolecular forces. Hence, the more separation of the particles of water will increase, hence are decreasing the surface tension. On the temperature also reduces the surface tension in the liquid because it weakens the coercive force of attraction between the liquid. When we know the method of heating the water is through, convection. Convection is mixing up of the liquid particles to transfer the uniform heat or uniform temperature. When temperature increases, it will separate the particles, which one by it will increase the intermolecular distances, hence lowering the surface tension. That is all about the forces. I've discussed about the effect of force. I think we can now explain the effect of force. We can define force and state it as a unit. We can also define the different forces and know why this application. For instance, when do we, for example, the force of learned, when do you witness them in daily lives? For example, in last force that I've learned about surface tension in our daily life, this applied one that you may sometimes if flies are floating in water and you may ask why I'm not sinking. This is because of surface tension. And the gravitational force is an daily force that you may experience or see in some cases. When you do something happen, it will automatically move towards the center of the other. The friction force, I have talked about the friction force. You have seen that it helps us in writing, walking, braking, and many others. So the disadvantage of saying that it can cause fire, it causes we have seen that it can be reduced by using rollers, increasing and holding in our case. And so many I was saying we have spoken about the electrostatic force, discussed about the magnetic force. We have also discussed on the effect of force, that is changes in direction, changes the shape and many other. Okay, what assignment here about you can go through before we meet the next class, that is explain why needle placed carefully on the top of water floats. Thank you for your listening. I think this marks the end of our presentation now, our class now. We can go and we can follow more and you can subscribe on our channel.